God punishing me financially? If this is the question you've asked yourself at any given time, then hang on tight. Or if you've wondered, is your financial wars that you are facing each and every single day are a result of God punishment or God imposing something hardship? Or maybe you were told it is the devil. The devil is causing you this financial hardship. Or you might have told somebody in your family have put a spell on you, like that song. You've put a spell on me. So maybe you are feeling that maybe there was a spell that has placed upon you. I want you to hang in tight in this amazing conversation where you're having a deep dive with Alpha, where people who are purposeful driven like you, we have a conversation to spell out all the money myth and find a way to align your wealth with God's given purpose. So today, the question is God punishing you? When you look at your finances, when you look at your money situation, is God punishing you by any means? Or is there a devil who is interfering with your ability to earn and live life consistent with your interest? If you're feeling that in any area of your life, today I'm going to do the best I can to provide you with the answer. But I'm doing this not only just out of nowhere, but it's based on biblical principles. We're going to have this conversation in terms of how the scriptures informs us in this manner. So you're going to have your financial freedom, but also without sacrificing your faith. Is that something interesting? If it's so, let's make it happen. Let's have a conversation that will take you from where you are to where you desire yourself to be. And today, again, I'm going to repeat the question is God punishing you financially? Is there a devil who have taken that capacity, ability for you to earn the finances, the financial ability that you would love to have so that you can have the type of life you want to have? To start this journey, I'm going to introduce my book, The Exodus Within. And in this book, I am introducing this concept that is well described in the book of Exodus about Moses, about Pharaoh, about Joseph, about the environment and the circumstances that have been introduced in the conversation of the book of Exodus. And I'm taking that narrative, I'm just going to keep it short and brief to explain how is your finances relate to God. Because this is God's talk in terms of, we're talking about, is God punishing you in your finances, that you're experiencing hardship in your money? Is the devil taking something away from you? And you wonder, and sometimes maybe you ask yourself, oh, are you cursed to experience the financial hardship you're experiencing? These are the questions that many people have asked me, and there were some of the questions that I have gone through at some point in my life. But today, I am so excited to be able to answer those in a short, brief conversation that we're going to have here. So, first and foremost, I want to just kind of dispel it. God has no agenda against you when it comes to your money. If somebody told you that, they misled you. And unfortunately, they have misguided you and therefore lied to you. God has no interest, no desire to affect your finances in one way or the other. Instead, it is his desire, as it is told in the book of Jeremiah, that for you to experience the end you desire to have. So, in your finances, what is the end you desire to have? What type of a financial experience you want? This is not about a particular trick or a particular business. All of those are well and good. But how many people you know who have tried a particular business, have tried a particular gimmicks, have tried a particular professional, and yet they have not attained the success they hope to achieve as others who have told them they could? It's simple. because it is more than just money. It is more than just a profession. It is more about than just doing things. There is a principle that governing your financial freedom. And when you don't really align with that principle, you have a problem. And this is the thing that if today I look back and told my younger self, 25 years later or 25 years back, this is the advice I would give it to him, myself, back then, that our finances is a reflection of our relationship with the idea of money. Our financial experience in life is a product of the relationship we have in the idea of money. It has nothing to do with God punishing you. It has nothing to do with the devil trying to take away from you. It has nothing to do with your distant relative or somebody putting a curse on you or put a spell on you, as that song says. None of those are a reality of why you're experiencing financial situations the way you're experiencing. Because the scriptures clearly informs us that as you think about money, as you feel about money, so will be your experience. I will repeat, as you think about money, as you feel about money, the book of Psalms tells us that. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart is simply a feeling. It is a place, it is a seat of feeling and emotions. So as you emotionalize, when you talk about money, what feeling do you have? Do you feel like the money can't stay with you? Do you feel like money is a distant relative? Do you feel money is that thing that you experience on Thanksgiving when there's constantly battling between you and your relatives on the table? If that is the type of feeling you have when you think of money, then that's the experience you'll have. You will have to struggle to get money. You have to fight for it because that's the thinking in your heart. That's how you feel about it. Just think it traditionally. If you have a bad feeling about me, guess what? When you find me or meet me, you will have a cold response to each and everything I say because you have a particular feeling. Even though that feeling might have no relationship to the fact, you might have heard somebody said something. And the moment you realize, oh, that's the guy who I heard about, and therefore you express your emotions, you start being distant, you become cold. So money have a tendency of doing the same. Money is called a currency. It's an energy. And it behaves to us based on the relationship we have with it. I used to have this concept of money that it doesn't last long. So I started a business years ago, and the business thrived. We were broke, me and my wife. We pushed through, and that business took us from being broke to generating millions of revenue every year. And yet, money never lasts. There was always something that I needed to spend on. We didn't live an extraordinary life. We were very keen on observing and managing, and we were doing tithing and offering. But none of those were helpful in creating the type of financial freedom we were looking for. Because there was this belief, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I personally had this assumption money can't last long. You got to work hard for it. So I worked harder and it didn't last on my hands. It came as it came, so it left. It was expressing the relationship I have with it. So, as the question that I started with, is God punishing you with money? And the answer, as of now, is no. God is not a respecter of a person and therefore has no one or the other interest about you with money. You want to be broke? God says you can have it. You want to be successful? God says you can have it. You want to be miserable? God says you can have it because it is God's plan for you to experience that which you desire to experience in life. And what do you desire is not what you tell me or another. It is not what you verbalize here and there. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It is based on that which you think and feel about money. It becomes the thing that you desire. Because God is not concerning with the words you say every single day. It's concerning of the spiritual aspect of you and this thing we call money. And again, here we're talking about God and money in order to clarify this issue that I went through myself, and many people are going through it each and every single day, where there's this concept that you got to do something to God in order to gain financial freedom. As recently, a very person that I respect and love very dearly approached me and said, you should give money to this organization, this Christian organization. It's very good as an organization. It's doing amazing work. You should give your money, because when you give the money to this organization, God will bless you. How many of you have heard that? You were told, maybe you should give this 10%, or maybe you should give additional offering to this organization that is doing an amazing work of God, and God will bless you. I am going to be maybe one and the only person who's going to tell you the truth is God doesn't care. You can give as much as you want to that organization. You can give as many 10% of your money to an organization, and God doesn't care. It doesn't move the needle, because God is not a respecter of a person. So you as a person giving physical things to an organization does not affect God, love, presence, or anything. God is a principle, and that's what matters. There is nothing wrong giving to an organization. I occasionally, me and my wife tend to donate clothes to a particular organization because we have a particular connection with that organization. And once in a while, I've written checks to that organization, not that God can bless me, because it's a connection that I have with that organization. Simple as that. There's something that back then when I was just beginning life, I was broke. That organization was the place we went to get Christmas gift for my kid, for my son at the time. We were a struggling couple, making, and somebody introduced us to this organization. When we went there, they embraced us and we got brand new gift. So guess what? Since then, things got better for me. I've always looked out for that organization because it looked out for me. Not because I want God to bless me, because God is not a respecter of a person. So God doesn't care do with your money. He cares about the relationship you have with idea of money. That is the most important thing. If you heard nothing about this conversation and you don't care about anything else, guess what? You learn to create a relationship with this idea called money in your mind that is consistent with your interest. Eventually, you're going to start seeing changes in your life. Money will come to you with ease. Money will just find its way to your hands, to your pocket, to your bank account. It will last longer and you will go farther. Not because God is punishing you, not because somebody put a spell on you, not because of any experience you're having about money today is a product of the idea you hold about money. So how do you change this? As I pointed out, the question here is God punishing you with your money? Is the devil causing you to not have the financial success you're looking for? Did somebody put a spell on you? And so far, the answer has been none of those are of any truth. God is not punishing you about your money. He's not testing you, because the scripture says God does not test anyone. So if somebody told you, they lied to you. The devil is not taking away from you, because you've been given dominion over everything, including money. So nobody can give you a dominion and take it away from you at the same time. It is already given. You cannot just take it. It is given. You have the dominion. And God's plan for you is to prosper. So it makes no sense to allow a so-called the devil to take it from you. So the truth is, the principle here is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As you think about money and feel about money, so you react to money consistent, whether you know it or not. And so, how do you know it? Look at your experience. What is your bank account says? What is your credit report or whatever the measures of money that we use in this world or wherever you are, that measure becomes, when you look at it, it tells you how you feel and think about money. For most Christians, they've been told money is the root of all evil. And many have bought to that Kool-Aid and been drinking that Kool-Aid for years. I was one of them until I learned otherwise. I learned what that statement means. We'll answer that question in a different date because it will take a different subject. Today, the question that I was intending to answer in this conversation is whether God is punishing you. That's why you're facing financial hardship, or whether there is such a thing as a devil who's causing hardship upon you, or somebody cast a spell on you or put a spell on you. None of those things so far, based on the conversation we've carried, are true. The cause of the financial hardship is not because you are stupid, not because you are lazy, it's not because you are incompetent, it's not because you're of a particular race or a particular color of skin. All of these things, they are relevant when we look at them. It's like I woke up in the morning when I was looking outside, I could see like lines of water. I mean, it's not actually water. You can see that it looks like the ground look wet and just in a particular direction. So by looking at the ground, and it looks wet, not the entire ground, just a driveway, a particular portion of a driveway. If I look at it and say, oh, that area is wet, I can say, if I look outside, let's say it's gloomy, I can say maybe because of the rain, there might be a drizzling of rain that caused a particular area to get wet. That's an assumption. It's not a fact. I'm making an assumption based on observation. And often we mistaken these assumptions we make as a reality, especially when those assumptions are hurting us. So you say, because I did not graduate, therefore I cannot succeed financially. Or not because I didn't have successful parents, then I'm going to continue to be broke. Or because I was born in a family that is broke, then therefore I will likely be broke. I mean, these are things, or because I grew up in a particular neighborhood, so therefore we're making correlation. But correlation is not a truth. It's just you're looking at something and assign it. Or because people of a particular race, I'm of this race, so therefore I cannot succeed in this environment. Those are assumptions. And those assumptions are hurting because they determine the experience or the relationship you have with idea of financial success. And based on that assumption, it governs your behavior when it comes to financial success. You might end up having a lot of money, but you might be stressed out by having that kind of money. And so therefore you will not have the success or the joy necessary to enjoy it. Because I've been there. I've been there when I created a successful business, but because of the assumptions that I've created about money, my relationship with money was not as constructive. And because it was not so constructive, even though I created so much money through this business, I was anxious. I was always on the edge, always worrying about, can I pay my employee next month? But there was a lot of money, a lot of saving. I had a line of credit. I could pay them without sweat because the business generated income. Not only that it generated income, I had cushions of what we call a line of credit. That in an event when the business cushion is not sufficient to pay payroll to meet its demand, I can use line of credits. And there are many times I've done so, but always the business generated enough to service itself. But I was always worried. I used to have this stomach butterfly every time because I had a bad relationship with money. You have a bad relationship with a person, things are not going to work well when you guys are together. When you think a person is evil, you will not find joy in their company. When you think a person is conniving, you will not find peace in their presence. And so it is true about finances. When you think money is the root of all evil, so as you think, so you will be. You will not experience the fullness, the financial capacity would have given it to you. It is already given to you because it says you have dominion of all things. And it says in Jeremiah, it is God's plan for you to have a fulfilled desire, which is said to prosper. If your fulfilled desire is that, that's God's plan to give it to you. Not to deprive, he said, not to harm you, not to cause you to feel less, but to have life and hope in these things, which in this case is finances. I want to leave you with a simple word that I think, among everything else, if you can take this simple thing, there is no one who is causing you hardship in your ability to experience life or a privilege you have to experience a financial success in your life. No one. The boss could have done, the client could have done, your spouse could have done, your friend could have done. A lot of things could have happened. But guess what? You are in charge of it all. I want to conclude with a very simple story of a good friend of mine, or a buddy of mine, if I have to use the correct word. He also referred to me a buddy of mine. This gentleman grew up in a one-bedroom apartment, 7 siblings, 3 sisters, 4 brothers. One-bedroom apartment. They used the curtain to separate the living room so that the sisters can sleep on one side and the brothers can sleep on the other side. And they were struggling, and it was like many times they went to sleep with just the water. In fact, there are sometimes they just put sugar. Even sugar, sometimes they couldn't find to make the water sweeter. And he went and became a gangbanger. He banged the hard way. He robbed, he shot, he did everything that you could think. But one day he woke up, his girlfriend was pregnant. And he looked at his neighborhood, he looked at his surrounding, and he asked himself this simple question. I grew up in hardship. Am I going to raise my child in the same environment? And he had an idea. He left the neighborhood in search of a better life. Of course, he left California, he went to Georgia. And from there, he had to survive a different way. He found an apartment, he found a job. And finding a job, he said, I got to earn more. He taught himself skills that afforded him an opportunity to embark on a new trade. So this man had no chances of succeed. Broken home, gang banger. He have banged in every kind of way you can ever think. The only thing he've done, he've never killed anybody. But he've shot several times towards people. He missed. Luckily, he missed. But he changed his life. He took a different journey. He decided to relate himself with success differently, not based on the environment that he saw. And who he did, within 8 years, he took himself from being a lower income family member to a higher, to maybe a 2% bracket of the income earner in this country, in the world, around the world. He was generating millions of dollars every year, not one, not two, tens of millions of dollars every year. How did he do that? He didn't go and give it to the church. He didn't go and give it to the mosque. He didn't do giving to the temple. He didn't pray to anybody. He didn't do any of these things that we have been told to do. We have been lied that we must do. And he didn't have the best education. He did one thing. In my book, The Exodus Within, I call it the exiting of Egypt. He recognized his Moses. He embraces his Aaron. And he was persistent in asking Pharaoh, let me go. And eventually he set himself free. Not because somebody laid hands on him, not because he had holy water, not because he had any of these things. It's simply because he did something that the scriptures has always told us to do, but we have been misguided, lied to. And I'm just going to be clear on this record. I am not against giving to an organization, a church. If you find the church is adding value to you, definitely support it. What you're giving, though, you're not giving it to God. You are giving it to an organization so that it can continue to grow and do the mission it is designed to do. Simple as that. And once you do give in that way, you're not giving out of obligations, you're giving out of joy and satisfaction. And it is that attitude that opens doors because now you are satisfied. You're in this state of being thankful. Like I said, I give to a particular organization, but we don't give it because God have told us to do. We give it because that organization have had an impact in my life at some point in my journey of progression. And for that reason, today I'm in a better position that which they do is no longer needed by me. So I can further enable that organization through my contribution to do more to others. And so you can do the same for your church. But don't be misguided nor lied, because that belief further hinders your growth. When you think I got to give it to God, so you give out of fear. And Job said, that which I feared, it happened to me. So the question I have for you, what are you afraid of when it comes to money? What type of ideas or relationship you have when this concept of money pops up in your mind? I hope you have more warming and embracing ideas so that you can change your life through a simple thing, not going to school for more education, not to look for something out of extraordinary, but by simply embracing an idea that you deserve to have financial success. Start with that. And how do you start it? By actually declaring yourself, because Jose told us, he said, let the weak say, I am strong. So you are weaker financially. So what do you say? I am financially satisfied. Not only just say it, in my book, The Exodus Within, Free Yourself from Mental Bondage, I am providing an outline of how you can do that. You can get that book, by the way, in Amazon. But it lays out this relationship, a relationship between Moses in the story of Exodus and Aaron, his brother, in that conversation. And how do they relate themselves to Pharaoh? Pharaoh is simply a belief system that you says, I am not enough. I cannot have more than. I'm born in this way, so I must have this way. All this coloration that we make in life. Say, oh, because I am so and so, or because I'm in this country, or I was born in that particular place. You associate your God-given gift with your environment. And that's the problem. But you change it, as I pointed out earlier, where you recognize your Moses, the idea of wanting financial freedom, and this concept of Aaron, the joy of being financially free. And we employ the mechanism that Jose told us, let the weak say, I am strong, and you say, I am financially free. But only just say it, feel it. What it feels to be financially free, what it feels, and what you think about when it comes to that. So you align those two, and guess what? When two or more are gathered, not individuals, how many times have you prayed with many people and saw no results? The scripture is not talking about people. Remember, it is said God is not a respecter of a person. So I have nothing to do with the things we do casually. And there's nothing wrong about going to church or gathering together because it creates this community aspect. And it's good for our feeling. And it's good for our mental. So there's nothing wrong with those things. But then let's do it with awareness. Let's do it with understanding, with a little bit more of intelligence. And the intelligence I'm talking is not about the school intelligence. It's a spiritual intelligence. I'm going to go and gather with people and I will have fun, just as I would gather with people at my house, on a bar, on a club, whatever the case might be. God is present everywhere. There is no place where God is not, because if that would have been the case, then he's not God. That's the bottom. You can't say that, oh, there is air, but only in the house. Air is available everywhere. No matter where you go, air is available. And that's what makes air, air. And the presence of God everywhere is what makes God. So when you say this is the house of God, it's a lie. It is a building holding a particular group of people who believe in a particular way. It is fine. So money, these belief systems are the ones that are hindering us, sometimes preventing us from experiencing the financial freedom that is already our inheritance. Having financially success, having a peace of mind, a healthy body and mind. Because all these things you need to experience the fullness, what finances could offer for you, or financial freedom will deliver you to. So when you think of these things, today, to start your journey, I encouraging you and invite you to take a very simple step. And that step is nothing but start having a better relationship with money in your mind. And you want to learn how to do that more. Grab a copy of my book, The Exodus Within, on Amazon. And there you will learn a little bit more the how to. But I've given you enough to get your journey started. Again, every Thursday, I am here. Every Tuesday, I'm present here to have this conversation about God and money. While Thursday, I talk about marriage, relationship about the same time. Until then, remember that you are divinely powered to experience the financial freedom that you desire or hope could have. Never settle for less. Persist, pursue, and act as you're inspired. Until then, I'll talk to you next Tuesday. If you have any questions in this concept or any other subject as it relates to money, please don't hesitate to drop down the comments, and I will be more than happy to be able to elaborate it.